Hey there everybody, Wayne D here. Thanks for tuning into the website. And as you can see here, we're looking at young Matthew Wolff. He's been playing great. He's got a great, interesting looking swing. So I wanted to play it. These are in slow-mo, so I'm going to run through it a little quicker. And we'll talk about the obvious things that you see that stand out. And then we'll go into a little more detail about some of the interesting subtleties in his motion that you see. So when we look at it from face on, what do you notice here? So first thing you notice is that odd movement at the beginning. We'll talk about that. Then we got the forward press. You can see the right arm way above the left. Then you see the left heel come way up. And we got to analyze some sort of movement here that looks different. And then just the creation of lag. Golfing machine would call that float loading. And then a beautiful approach to impact. So the heel comes way up, it sits back down forward, and boom. You also notice the grip is kind of weakish, maybe a one knuckle type grip there. Let's look at it from behind. So from behind it's so obvious, the club is massively outside. His hand stays there. The face is pretty closed, or it looks like it's facing the ground more. Now it's going to be way across the line, big space between the feet. Look at the height of that left heel. Now he's got to wheel it around, so he's going to flatten it like crazy. Looks like he's going to get it stuck behind him, but he's got such great rotation. He's just got a little bit of a draw approach. Now he's a fader, maybe not on this shot, but he likes the fade. And look how the legs back up. That right leg straightening and pushing up and left. And as you've seen, when you watch this guy, tremendous power. Not that big of a guy, got big legs, but not that big of a guy. Alright, so let's get a little bit more detailed, and we'll, instead of that straight down the line picture, I'm going to go to a little different angle on the swing because it's closer and we can see a little more, like I said, subtleties in the movement. So one thing I wanted to note in the swing is that I have heard some people talk about the fact that he doesn't have any lateral movement, that he's squatting, but that's just not true. You can see his left hip has advanced a few inches, and that's maybe not quite as much as some guys, but it's there, and you got to watch for that. So another interesting thing here is if you can actually have him explain what he's doing here. It's what's called an impact fix, and again, it's something that Ben Doyle used to teach out of the golfing machine, where he's trying to preset and visualize where he wants to be when he hits the ball. Definitely don't want to be facing the ball when he hits it, or anybody actually. So he pops into that impact more or less position here. As he does that, you can see his right arm is going to relax and bend. And then he's going to straighten his arms back up. He's going to return back to square and neutral. So there's the impact fix start right there. Now he's going to return to neutral. He's going to stabilize for a second, for a very short period. And then watch the left leg is going to pull away. So he's counter rotating his hips now. Now that's a quick movement, but if you see that, if you watch carefully in McElroy's swing, he does the same thing. So what that does is it delays the hip rotation, allows him to begin to wind the upper body so he doesn't get his hips open too fast in the backswing. Now we'll watch the forward press. It's a pretty big one. You can even see the force of the takeaway bending the shaft. So let's see what, if we put a little marks around his head, we'll see what the head is doing here also. So he's really swinging away from a center. He's not moving, he's not really loading to the right with the upper body, but if you watch his lower body from right here, watch how he maintains the load against the right side, against the right wall there, until he's ready to put that heel back down. And when he puts that heel back down, watch the left foot. It's angled out at first. Watch the heel. It's going to twist toward the target. So you know something's going on in that left leg and the left side of the pelvis. So watch it from down the line more or less here. We can really see what goes on. So instead of the standard internal rotation of the right and external of the left here, he's going to delay the external rotation on the left leg and let the left knee pull out and lift the heel up. But when he starts the downswing, he's going to actually turn. You can see it right here in transition. When he starts to change direction, he's going to pull that left hip into more external rotation when he starts down. And what that's going to do, that's going to wind the upper trunk more even. So when he starts to flatten that shaft, his upper body is going to be tremendously wound up against the lower as he flattens the thing. So if we go back to the beginning and you ask, why is that backswing look so odd? Well, he's got zero right forearm supination. So if you take your right arm and stick it out and turn your palm to the sky, that is what supination is all about. And in the left forearm, pronation is just when you roll it over. So a normal backswing would swing the club in more or less on the shaft plane. The right forearm would be supinating and the left forearm would be pronating. But here you're going to see the right forearm resist all supination and the left forearm is not going to roll at all. So here the knuckles of the left hand are pointing down and the right palm is pointing down at the same time. So the club has no incentive to open or to swing around in an arc. It's going to go straight up, and as he keeps turning, he's going to let the club meander over, stay outside his hands. You look at that, still outside his hands all the way to the top. And then here's that movement where he twists his leg a little bit, and then he's going to plant the thing, but along with that lateral hip drive, it's going to push that heel forward, and he gets that drive just enough. Now from the top, what are you going to do with a club that's pointed in this direction? Well, obviously somehow you're going to have to get it over here, and what's he going to do? He's going to take that right arm, which hasn't supinated at all, and then he's going to just add a ton of supination. So this is that sidearm throwing motion where the upper right arm is going to adduct down and forward. He's going to have the right forearm supinating and the right shoulder externally rotating, which keeps it in front. Now he's going to drive that upper arm in front of him. Look at the amount of openness in the hips. Now this is what allows this to happen consistently for him, and he's so athletic. And he explains it. He says that that foot coming up and that leg action is more baseball, where he played, which he played when he was young. And he's going to wheel that club around and have enough rotation and enough control of it to get it out back in front of him. And then if you look at remember he had that weak grip going, so this is pretty common amongst really good ball strikers with weak grips. It's that left wrist flexion, adding that bend in the left wrist in the downswing. And you can see he starts doing that pretty much from the top, because here we've got the left wrist in extension, and now it's going to turn and start to bow. So already up here we've got the left wrist flattening. So any normal person trying to do this would have the club like back here on the approach, but Wolff is so good. Look at that rotation in the legs. Now he's down in the ground like crazy here. So as he rotates and stays pinned into the ground, watch the right leg right there. It's going to begin to drive in and up into the left. And look at the right knee straighten. The left knee is going to straighten. The pelvis is going to pull back. And it's so, he does that so aggressively. Watch the feet. They're going to, both of them are going to slide. You've seen foot sliders before, right? But you don't usually see skaters like this who's driving both feet backwards. But at full speed, it's just so fluid and powerful. It just looks so cool. I mean, how nice would it be to have a swing like that, where you didn't have to be conventional and you could just smack it? That would be great. Anyway, thought that would be interesting to look at Matthew Wolff in a little more detail. Hope you enjoyed that.